To advertise with us, donate sponsorships and suggestions, email us at trendafricatv@gmail.com or call us on 773-312-0318 or 773-756-6678. Remember to also follow and like us as Trend Africa TV on Facebook so you can always catch us live. On Instagram as Trend Africa TV 123 or subscribe to our YouTube channel as Trend Africa TV and click on the notification button to watch previous shows. You can also visit our website for your African news, entertainment, fashion and sports updates on www.trendafricaonline.net. Trend Africa TV, redefining Africa.
Hello everybody, hello. Here we are at Julia Solutions Talk Orbit again. It's Monday and we do this every Monday 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And we're here as usual talking about solutions to many things. There's always a problem that needs a solution. And before we jump into solutions, every time we have to bring from Julia's own cuisine what she does, what she prepares, food, to make you know that food is part of our culture, it's part of our livelihood, yes. And how we do it right do matter. So we stay healthy and focused on the real things that matter in life. Food will destroy us, food will build us, food will make us, food brings us together, and we always start with food. I have my host right here with me today, Ajijola Ojo, co-hosting as usual, and we're going to talk a lot about what is going on with COVID-19 and love. That's the topic. So we're going to go on a brief kitchen visit and we'll come back to talking about this food that we just prepared for you.
Yes.
See you soon.
Another brand new anthem. OS moved up. And it's your boy Solo again. Another brand new anthem. How you gon' check me around the show? Hits you the one, just ask for more. Swag you just said, just ask for more. Words know they rhyme if you check the flow. You think say you know, but you don't know. You have no clue what man they go through. All this why you think say I be fool. I know they walk through the valley, I just they pass through.
Sin is the lie. They want to see me fall. Sin is the lie. They want to see me fall, but I keep rising, go higher. I keep rising, go.
This is the banga, the real club banga. All you other niggas just ride like Usanga. Stop like a period, you fucking with the danger. Friend or foe, yeah, I'm killing every stranger. Pow pow, tally real shots been fired. Can't keep up with the boss, you been tight. Certified, make a bang it till next summer. I got the real wire, hot like summer fire. Coming for your neck like a real live vampire. Roy City take over the new empire. Mr. Panana, I got the answer. So sick like a nigga got a cancer. So you better ask somebody, yo. Then they jump, then they rush like Mario. You gotta check the scenario. Stack money bigger than a bungalow.
Sin is a lie. They want to see me fall. Sin is a lie. They want to see me.
Two from that.
Okay.
And while it's going, I don't like it to overcook.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna break the eggs into it.
Okay. This is the lovely powerhouse.
And this is for a serving of 4, so it's 1 egg per person.
Nice.
So I'm gonna do 2 more eggs.
Okay. Wow. Nothing more powerful than a woman
Right.
cooking.
There's everything in here, garlic, whatever. I don't overcook the eggs, I just go overbeat the eggs. Just go over it for a little bit. Let it make its way to the food. That's it.
Wow, I can't wait to see the finished product.
Because I'm gonna wrap it in the wrap.
So you will not wrap it in the cassava.
Now come over here, and I have. This is a spinach wrap. Have it right here.
Okay.
And I put it over my grill.
Okay.
So I think it's for 4 people, so I just do.
Wow.
Yep. So it's getting warmed up. The oven is here. Let's get back and make sure this is also. It is ready.
It's ready?
It is ready.
And food is ready, everybody.
The pepper sauce right here. I don't overcook stuff. I make sure it's under the right heat.
Well, I will be eating this when we start the show.
My secret ingredients.
That I know. I've told you we need to. We have to
This
definitely
is
bottle
ready.
that.
And now, this right here, I pre-boiled it, but now this is completely fine and good to go. We turn that off.
Okay.
That's how quick we need to go.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is, I'll take some of this. Here's another spoon. Bring it over here.
Wow.
Make sure I put it in the wrap. It's still on the grill. Remember that.
Wow.
It is healthy.
With the spice, I can't wait. Thank you so much, Julia Gam.
Thank you.
I can't wait to premiere the food and let you guys know how it is when we start the
For
show.
someone who likes so much vegetables, so some
Yes.
people just do a little bit light. So I'm gonna wrap this right here.
Okay.
What I'm gonna do is I wrap the tail first, and then go here. So hey, solution lovers, solution talk show team. We just came from the kitchen with high-end energy, bringing the powerhouse food right here. And this is what we prepared. This wrap, the egg veggie wrap. You have mushroom in it, like I explained, and you have a medley of vegetables all in here. Simply, it's a gluten-free spinach wrap. So for my gluten-free lovers, it's for you today. It's your day. And then you have the black-eyed peas, beans that is used to create what we call in Cameroon koki. This is it right here. And it's in Nigeria, you call this moi moi. But koki is a little bit thicker than moi moi. And I have brought my guests to enjoy all of this luxury today with me. It's actually not a guest, it's my co-host.
Yes.
Ajijola Ojo. He was with
Thanks
me
for
last
having
week.
me.
He's right here. He's
Yep.
Aji Baba, as I call him. We're going to go on. I'm going to introduce Aji Baba, but I will serve him so the food doesn't get cold.
Yes.
You know how we do it in Africa?
Yes.
You treat our men as kings,
Yes.
and the men
I
will
love
treat
that
us
already.
as queens.
Yes.
So I'll serve him while he talks about himself. Aji, I'll serve you. Who is Aji Baba? Right
Wow.
here.
Thank you,
Introduce
thank
yourself.
you, thank you, Julia, for having me again.
Right, there you go.
This is 2 weeks in a row, so I guess I must be doing something right. Well, I'm still the same person that I was last week. We talked about what we've been able to do in the community with community development, building businesses, bridging gaps between African and African Americans, and just serving the community and just doing a lot of things that we can do to expose small businesses and what they've been able to do and just spread love all around the world. So I appreciate the fact that you've given me this opportunity again to be able to come here and enjoy this lovely food. I can't wait to taste what it is, and you call that moi moi.
Fork is for you.
And so is this South Africa?
That is
this
miondo.
Cameroonian?
Miondo. I just put the fork in there so you
Okay.
can go at it.
So what is this one? This
It's made miondo is
It's made
grated
of what?
cassava wrapped in leaves.
Okay.
Boiled.
Okay.
So I want you to, taste it. It's with some peppery sauce.
Okay.
Like a little appetizer for me.
Well, I love your sauce anyway, so let's see. Okay.
Please taste that which I just made for you before I can start. You can use your hands. You know how
For the wrap, right?
For the wrap.
Thank
It's
you
a
very
wrap.
much. I was
It's a
thinking,
wrap.
I'm like, man, I'm on TV. How am I going to do this? Let's take it back.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll
Well,
taste
let
it
me.
so I can go at it with you.
Yeah, you got to. Wow. Okay. See how I'm doing it? I didn't want to. That's a great. So this is considered breakfast.
Breakfast, you can have it lunch if you want, but it's breakfast.
Wow.
Yep.
So
So
amazing.
taste the koki too. It's
So this one is the moi moi.
more. You have a fork. I think you have a fork right there.
Okay. I could use the same fork. I'm not
Okay.
bougie. Do you use a sauce with this or just?
You can
straight
use
up?
the sauce.
I use sauce on everything.
I love sauce.
We-
Because it's spicy, it's peppery. I do
It
that.
tastes just like marmite though. It
told
tastes like just like our
Because
marmite.
it's the same thing that we do. I mean, it's the base is the beans,
Wow, wow, wow.
black eyed peas. So for those who are gluten free, or if you are a vegetarian or a vegan, you can eat cookie and have absolutely no bad consequences on you. And you can also have this wrap. It's for vegans. No, I'm saying for vegans, don't eat eggs or anything. You
That's
can't
true.
have the wrap. But we can do this for you without the eggs.
Definitely.
Of course. And vegetarians, this table is for you.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Completely for you.
That's amazing.
And
It
I
tastes-
know that some vegetarians who say, okay, I don't eat any animal products and all of that. So again, we can take that out for you. Yeah. So we did this nicely. You come here, we create for you, unique to you. And that's why we are a cook to other restaurant only.
Custom made.
So anytime, remember to call 312-877-4303 and you'll be talking to the Powerhouse Restaurant just to get your order ready. Or you can go on our website, thepowerhouserestaurant.com. You have a luxury of a variety out there for you.
Yes.
Remember, you can create your own unique to you when you call. Or when you order, you can put a note for us. We'll make it for you.
Wow.
So when we come back, we'll have a discussion. We'll talk love.
Love and
Tough
COVID.
love in COVID.
Love
a lot
in
has been going
COVID.
on around
Yes.
various cities right now.
Yes. Yes.
Some
yes,
people
yes,
are being kicked out of their houses, out of their relationships,
Yes.
even though the outside world looks a lot harsher. But they're being kicked out. There's violence. Then a lot of people are getting pregnant. So let's find out what's the secret of a
Definitely.
good love story in COVID and how to maintain your
Yes.
sanity.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
We'll come back to that, and thank you for staying tuned with us. Share these videos. Share. It's going to be impactful. Share, please. You share, let others come in and join the great life. Thank you.
To advertise with us, donate sponsorships and suggestions, email us at trendafricatv@gmail.com or call us on 773-312-0318 or 773-756-6678. Remember to also follow and like us as Trend Africa TV on Facebook so you can always catch us live. On Instagram as Trend Africa TV 123 or subscribe to our YouTube channel as Trend Africa TV and click on the notification button to watch previous shows. You can also visit our website for your African news, entertainment, fashion and sports updates on www.trendafricaonline.net. Trend Africa TV, redefining Africa.
Welcome to Africa. Hey, Mama Africa, the land of peace, gold and diamond. Welcome to Africa. Hey, Mama Africa, dark and lovely, beautiful people. Hey, 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 don't mind what people say. I said, don't mind what people say. Don't mind.
To advertise with us, donate sponsorships and suggestions, email us at trendafricatv@gmail.com or call us on 773-312-0318 or 773-756-6678. Remember to also follow and like us as Trend Africa TV on Facebook so you can always catch us live. On Instagram as Trend Africa TV 123 or subscribe to our YouTube channel as Trend Africa TV and click on the notification button to watch previous shows. You can also visit our website for your African news, entertainment, fashion, and sports updates on www.trendafricaonline.net. Trend Africa TV, redefining Africa.
Thank you for joining us right back here at Solutions Talk Obet. Now, these love issues going on, COVID-19 love, COVID-19 love drama, better still. So I want to ask Aji Baba, Master of Art in Love Affairs.
Please.
Yes, I want to ask you, what have you noticed that is different with love and relationships during COVID-19?
Wow, great question, actually. I mean, I wanted to really, I was compelled to kind of like feel free to talk about some things that I've really noticed in our community, because I talk to a lot of young people every single day, and they always come to me like at this time of COVID-19, they were telling me about all the stuff that's been happening in relationships and what other people have been doing. But not just that. I had a young person that I'm very close with come to me and told me what she was going through in her relationship, and I felt compelled to deal with it because, I mean, she was moved out of her house during COVID and all that kind of stuff. So I just felt like this is an issue that's probably affecting a lot of people.
She got moved out?
Yes. It was very serious, and around COVID. So I felt like it's an issue that we really need to. Nobody's really talking about. I've been following the stats and everything that's going on with marriages and all this kind of stuff that's happening, where the abuse has been going up. So I'm in my head. I'm like, where are women going, and what are they going to be doing to be able to maintain what's going on in this whole atmosphere? So I felt like it's a great topic for us to talk about love and COVID-19, and just to shed light on what everybody's going through. So anybody that's watching that you really want to put in some inputs, just feel free to chat with us so we can kind of know what you're dealing with and what your perspective is about love.
True.
So for me, love and COVID-19, I'm so grateful. God has been so good to me. So I can't complain about
someone getting pregnant.
No, nobody's getting pregnant right now. Been there, done that. That's already been, you know what I mean? I have 3 lovely kids, so I'm good for now. But moving forward, I mean, for me, I thank God, because the relationship has been ongoing for a long time. So I've had time to build on that relationship.
Okay.
So I didn't need COVID to actually tell me what my relationship was about. In essence, it actually made us a lot more stronger.
Okay.
Because, I mean, there's a group of people that we've been living together for a while. I mean, knowing each other, not necessarily living in the same cities, but we've been around each other for a long time. So we get to kind of know each other's character.
Right.
And we've built that. And it took time for us to get to that point. So it's going to take more than COVID to be able to break my relationship.
Correct.
But I know a lot of other people that are dealing with some of the things that I probably went through in my previous relationship from now. So those are the kind of people I really want to focus on, and to find out, like, hey, how is COVID treating you, and what's going on in your relationship, and what can we do better to mend this relationship, to mend this everything that we have moving forward from COVID. So
do you come from this group where you offer, and I believe from the economic family, where you
Yes.
offer leadership.
Yes.
So much leadership that there is advice, and there's who you can contact when you're going through some drama. I remember
Definitely.
just last week you reached out to me and said, hey, somebody got shot.
Yes.
Somebody got shot because of a particular drama that is going on.
Yes.
But
yes. Rest in peace.
do
to
you
DJ.
get to refer people from the economic family, in case they're facing domestic violence during COVID, to a particular leader to come in and, officiate for them, speak to them, counsel them, and for them to have a more peaceful environment?
Wow, that's a great question, Julia. You actually said everything, because you kind of know what we do at the economic family. So when people come into us with their needs and whatever's going on in their relationship, and they're soliciting for maybe accommodation or where they're going to stay after they've been kicked out of the house or things like that, we have a system in place through the Life Development Center that we're working on ongoing right now, establishing on a bigger front that just addresses, because we have people that are well versed in their mental traumas. They have degrees in those kind of areas. They're professional in that area. We have counselors. So we just have a lot of group of people that we can just refer people to and say, hey, you seem to know a lot about this area of things. So and so has an issue that they're dealing with. How can we match you guys up so that you guys can deal? Because all we're doing is matching the needs up with with what we have available. So, and we've been able to have a lot of professionals available that's just going to point people to the right direction of what's going on. But aside from that, it's always important to always find out the root cause of the problem and try to find out what's really going on in COVID, like that's making people act differently and away from what they normally do. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that certain particular area, but we try to just see what's the best for us to do.
From COVID-19, is it being locked down in in a certain space with someone for a long time? Is that is it should I say a measuring scale for you to know the person you've been dealing with? Because most of the times, even though you're married to someone, you don't live with them 24/7. And to see the anger come out of that particular relationship during this period, it should be some grounds for you to say, after COVID, I don't want to deal with the same character or the same person. Or you want to get into counseling after this. What would be your advice to couples who feel frustrated living in the same space during this period?
First thing first, I would say seek proper guidance and counsel. So you always have to look for wise counsel. In some respects, you could say, hey, you can use church. But it's always, in most situations, it's even bigger than the church.
It's bigger than the
so
church,
you need counselors. So you need professionals that come in that can really help you deal with that. And then you have people like me that have kind of been through a lot of different things in life. Unfortunately, I used to be married. I was divorced. So I kind of have some insight, especially from the male perspective, which sometimes might get me in trouble a lot because a lot of people don't understand. But I try to get people to understand how men think.
Okay.
And because I've actually been through that and I've lived through that, and I've been not that model citizen of a man in my prior life, I can kind of speak to it and let people understand exactly, hey, these are the signs. And when a guy's acting this way, this is what he's trying to tell you and things like that. So I try my best. But most importantly, I try to make sure I direct them to the right
Who do you
counsel.
encourage to exercise more patience? I say that you have women who have had their careers in nursing that go out more than the men, and you still see them go out. And you have some men are forced to stay home, and they're not doing so much as they were doing. So if a man was doing a job that is non-essential, now he's forced to sit at home. The woman comes back that is illness, and then there is so much drama because he is locked in a space, and she turns all of that anger into her. Do you think men should learn to be more calm during this period? I know women are really very vocal in any scenario. Most scenarios, you can tell that a woman will have to talk. She will express herself, but a man often has difficulty expressing himself. So much so that I believe it often ends in violence if he has to go to an extreme. So what would you say to those men? Calm down? Or would you say that women also are pushing their button?
See, that's a great point. I think obviously patience for a man is a virtue and is a characteristic that once you've taken your relationship to a different side, you have to understand you're dealing with another human being, and then so you have to make sure that you empathize with that and you feel her pain and know what's going on. But much more so on the other side too. I have to tell. I always say this a lot. I've never seen a group of men, especially those group of men in America that's going through so much. Like
Correct.
Men are really dealing with a lot nowadays, and honestly, they kind of deserve a little bit of patience too, and understanding, because you get beat down by the society, you get beat down for probably not being where you want to be. There's just a lot of other things that comes with being a man that is hard for me to explain in our show. But honestly, having sit down like what we're doing now to understand a male's perspective and say, hey, what are you guys dealing with? what's really going on? And we've seen it. We talked about the young boy that just got killed recently. There's some real issues that people are dealing with, and because guys we're not conditioned to go ask for counseling or ask for help or just have anybody to cry to, we hold everything inside, so we don't really talk about a lot of issues or dive into a lot of things that we should dive into. But so it takes a lot of patience and understanding. And another thing I always say, for those of us that are African, and I'm just going to keep this basic because I want to explain the point. When you look at the generation right before us, right?
Right.
Our parents, some of them probably have 3, 4 wives, right? And that is part of their culture, their cultural traditions that they grew up on, right?
Right, right.
So now you have a man in this new age, in this new society. And this 4 or 5 wives has probably been going for thousands of years. So it's part of what they've dealt with. That one man having maybe a few women in their lives, right? So you're now moving to this generation, and then all of a sudden you are told, boom, you're a man now, you can only have one wife, and boom, you have to, you know what I'm saying? So yes, and we embrace that, and we want to live that
I
out.
think our parents back then spoiled this generation that you're seeing.
Yeah,
Spoiled men a lot. I think women are behind men being more spoiled than even the men. I'll say this. Yes, why? Growing up back home, you will find mothers tell their daughters to go out there and fetch water and come back. You both would go to school. My twin brother and I could go to school. But you could, I'm not saying it happened to my family, but I'm saying that it happened in so many families that you say, let the men prepare. When you prepare food, you say you have to serve the boys. They don't do much in the
don't do a
kitchen.
lot.
The women
That's
will
true.
have to help
Yeah.
and then still go do homework. They are doing double. The men would just leave and then have to go do their homework or go play football.
Yeah.
And everything is
They have
okay. More time. But the women will have to come help in the kitchen, do house chores, do homework, and then, because he's a man. So to the point that when the man is about to get married, you still have to judge the character of the woman who is coming to marry your son, saying she is not qualified and this
To
one
do
is
all those
qualified
things.
because she has to know how to feed the baby you've been feeding up to the age that he was
That's true.
old. So a man comes into this society, that kind of an African man comes into this society and believes that the woman is supposed to do everything for him. The woman is supposed to know how to cook, serve him, and all of that. I think that service is a thing that, like we do here, men should serve women as, treat their women as queens, as well as women should treat their men as kings. In a common household right here in America, you find that both the man and the woman, there's no other family. There's not an extended family. So you both have to do stuff to keep the family going. It's not the woman's job to be in the kitchen.
Yes.
It is both of your job. Even though the woman takes, if she has more time in her hand, she will have to do a whole lot of work with that. With the kitchen is her thing. She wants to make sure there's food on the table. Meanwhile, I think that the love story pans out differently when she and her husband, they get to take the kitchen together. They create that as their love space.
For me, it's based on who you marry, and those are conversations you have in the beginning of the relationship.
Correct.
Because my dad, I don't want to see my dad in the kitchen because he can't cook. You get what I'm saying? So that's not he's not. He has no physical.
But this is why, because he
about-
was. You can imagine your dad back then. He would never be in the kitchen simply because he was not groomed to. But
he was. I mean, because there's
there are
periods in his
still
life
families.
where he had to be by himself. But that's why he would cook for himself. Because I mean, before he got married, he was dealing
But that's
with
not the
stuff
way
like
he
that.
was groomed. That's the point.
No, there's grooming is always different. Most African men learn how to cook because by necessity. Like I went to a boarding school, so at 10, 11 years old, I have to figure out how to make something. I'm no longer in the house.
Correct.
You know, and so a lot of African men actually have those kind of thing already inside in them. Even though, like you said, and you rightfully said it, that the condition in the household is different. They do it out of necessity, but if the woman is there, she's going to end up doing most of the work. So you're not wrong about that. But we still know a little bit. It just takes. That's why I said when two people get together, you set those standards and say, hey, what kind of guy are you, and what kind
Correct.
of woman are you? Because
Correct.
the woman I have now love to be in the kitchen all the time. I don't have to even say, hey, go to the kitchen. God just answered my prayer in that area. You understand? But I also go to the kitchen and cook all the time, and she loves when I cook. So, and I don't have a problem swapping those kind of roles and making it happen. But I see some other relationships where I can tell that the guy is used to women.
Right.
He
Cooking.
wants a woman that's always going to be in the kitchen.
I
So-
noticed there was a
yeah.
guy one time we did a show, and he said, I will never marry a woman who will not cook for me, and at the same time, I will never be in the kitchen. That's her space. So I felt like, that is the way he was groomed to think. Because in this society where anything could happen. Say your wife is not home, you're home with the kids. Would the kids stay hungry? You have to wait for her to come from wherever she
There's some
is to
people
cook.
like that, so
There's some
guys
and they'll
like that.
wait
Yeah.
until
There's
she
some guys
gets home
there's some guys
and make
like that.
food. Even if she's tired,
Yeah, I know
that
some
does
people
not
like
matter. It's not your
Yeah.
cup of tea. So, on behalf of men, there's a man who wrote a letter to you.
Yeah.
And he sent a notice. I think that I want you to go with what he's saying. He's fighting for men who are losing the good women
Yes.
nowadays. And he has a lot of complaint, but I think there is something that he would, I think you sent it to me, Aji. You should have it.
Yeah, I
You
have
it
it.
on your phone.
I'm
I have it right
trying to
here.
pull it up right
so
now.
he sent that message to you, and this is about how his view of women and how women have shifted from their authentic outreach to men for good reasons. He's calling on women to go back to their original ways of waiting for men to, this is my own words, to humble themselves and be in relationships simply because you are reached out to, you are loved by one man in the way the man chooses to. That's how I see it. It's not the way you look at it, the way the man wants. Maybe a man would just marry you just for what he wants, and then you have to deal with that. That's how I look at it. When you read the letter, it says something else. And I think that AJ will articulate the guy's thoughts better. But for me, this is what I see. Yes, there are materialistic women out there. There are women who have shifted. There are women whose goals are dirty. There have been gold diggers for a long time and for ages. But you find a lot more, and you also find new men who are gold diggers. So if you're saying these things about women, you should also look at men who have shifted from taking responsibility to men who just want to be catered to by women. So please address. Don't judge me. Don't judge him. I'll let AJ speak for him, and then we can discuss these issues. I'm not saying
Well,
that it's a
because
bad letter. We're just talking.
We're having conversations, and there's and I think that's the number one thing. I have a bunch of groups that I'm in, and when I start the group up, I always tell them, this is a no judgment zone. Because we're living in a society where people don't really want to have conversations and talk. And so the women have moved all the way this way, and then the guys are so we're further apart. So we're
Okay.
no longer talking.
Kindly read his note.
So I'm going to read one part
Dear
for you.
woman. He said, no,
Which
first
one?
I would have.
You read that one.
First
Read the one that you want to
Okay, he says, dear woman, whenever in a relationship you feel like a man is not prioritizing you enough, but gives excuses for silly mistakes without having a sense of responsibility to change for you and for the best, not the good of your relationship, simply walk out the door of that relationship without looking back. That's what he says. I like that part.
Okay. So
Good
what
one,
part?
brother.
Yes, yes.
You know why?
You see?
Because forever in your life, you will continue to be an option and not a constant. So many women are with guys who have no explicit, clear-cut plan of committing fully to in the relationship. It is like they expect for you to be in the relationship full-time while they do part-time. Sit back, relaxed, reserved, and apathetic as they watch you toil, suffer, take a fall for their own mistakes.
Yep.
These men are like leeches who come into the lives of women only to attach themselves on these women and in the end suck them dry of happiness, leaving them for the dead. These men are pro in the art of psychology, cleverly disguising the nature of their cunning just to either enter the pant of a woman or to use her as an investment mechanism. As it boils down to this, such men are very calculative in employing the device of behaviorism, often with the ulterior motive to be with a woman in the short term. Yet, they are able to bend the will and the feelings of women to such an extreme that even after a breakup, such women who become ex still cling on to their memory and are unable to detach feelings from such men. I was trying to get you into things that are not really into this letter. So for the audience not to raise their hopes so high, I want you to baffle them. What are you talking about? But he's saying something great right here.
Yeah, so when I read his little statement, everything that he wrote, I felt that he was kind of balanced in a way. Because really, he was mostly speaking to the women too and saying, look, these are the things that you have to look for. And I'm always aware because what I'm doing now is really to reach out to the men and say we need to step up our game. Because it's time for us to model the way and be a perfect example of what these women are looking forward to be with, like in their future plans and everything. So we really need to, and for women, we really need to just take our time and watch because guys are slick. I used to be slick. You could talk about my story, right? No, let's talk about it. There was periods. We could talk about it. There's periods in my life
where. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Do I have to say that?
You can talk about it.
There was a time I picked up a phone call from 3 women on one day.
Yes.
After an event. Girl A calling, girl B calling, girl C calling on behalf of Aji Baba.
Yes.
You have been a player, Aji.
I was.
And they all, for some reason, I had the question, why they all called me? Because they know I'm close to you.
Yes.
Like, each and every one had to say, Julia, can you believe this other person had the guts to show up at this event and for this particular reason or for this reason disrespected me? And all I would say is, you know your place in his life.
Yes.
You know there's a reason why he chose you. So don't worry about the other person. I didn't think that I was offering the best advice. At some point, I was brutally truthful, and I said, leave him alone.
Yes.
It's not going anywhere.
Yes.
So how did you feel?
Okay, that's a good question.
During those days where you had to, I feel like you were in a dark place.
I was.
Knowing you, it's like no attachments, nothing. So there was, you were really in a dark place and you had nothing to offer.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank God for progress, because that's why it's very easy for me to understand where guys are coming from. And I say, just take your time because we are slow in our maturity, slower than you guys are. And so a lot of us don't catch up on things till later. So I always just thank God for God coming into my life and just aligning me with certain, and giving me a different kind of purpose. I'm not perfect. And I always want to make sure everybody understands that. That period was the darkest period in my life, honestly. People don't understand it came so easy. I have 3 girlfriends, but I was miserable, right? And so you have to understand that other guys will be looking at you like, wow, AJ, how are you able to do that and everything? But the whole time I was miserable. I couldn't wait to get back to zero. Like I wanted to just get rid of it.
Yeah, I remember. You kept saying you don't want any of this. And I thought it was a sad moment for you. And each time you said, I pray I really just need to get out of this.
Yes.
And I thought it must be a miserable place for a man to deal with women who strongly love him and believe that he's everything. And then he doesn't see them
I was dealing with
to spend the rest of his life with.
Because me personally, I had a different outlook of women. And us growing up, we always looked at women as probably inferior in some type of ways.
Correct.
Because maybe a lot of stuff is cultural. And so I wouldn't say I was gonna just give my heart to a woman, because to me it was more almost like a sign of weakness. So for a guy, why do I have to give my life to one woman when I could just live my life and be free? I didn't want to face. I didn't want to get, be matured. So a lot of us are still in that, and I know a lot of guys that I till today, still not married, still going through that, because it's a scary thing for them. Like, oh, wow, now I have to be committed to one woman, and now I have to just give and submit every single thing, and it's very, very hard for a guy to kind of like the shoes for a guy to feel like. So all I want to do is tell everybody, let everybody know that those periods, and I apologize for it over and over again, because that was my past, and it was not a good time in my life. It was absolutely detrimental, because I wasn't even thinking about the women. I had no connection to them, so I couldn't empathize with their pain. I didn't until now that I get a little older, and I have some daughters, and I'm like looking back, and I'm like, whoa, that was not good.
Now you're in love. I could never believe that you fall in love with anybody. So what changed?
Honestly, one of the most important thing is getting to know God, and then also getting to know yourself. So when I describe love now, love for me is more of a love for God and more of a love for myself.
There's one thing I noticed you did. You had to take a step back from all of that. I remember a period of time where you say, I need a year over to be by myself.
Yes.
And not to have to deal with anybody.
Yes.
And was that the moment where you could find and acknowledge who AJ really is and what AJ wanted? Or did you fall in love with the person you're with before getting into that phase?
To be honest with you, I didn't really even understand what love was, because like I was telling you, I had so many issues from childhood that I was dealing with when it came to women. Because there's a certain way that I know that always worked for me when I treated the way I treated women. And it always worked for me, I'm telling you. And it's not the nicest way. I'm a nice guy, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, you are. But was it a blame game or what?
No.
Flipping things over? What was it?
It was
that
just,
worked for you?
What worked for me was just never giving myself completely to anybody.
Okay.
It always worked. Like, you know. And the funny thing about women.
But that's the funniest thing, too, because women fall in love with that.
That is it. So, and it worked. And that's what I was.
That shadows what the guy is saying.
Yes.
The men who don't give themselves completely,
yes.
they give it halfway.
Those are the ones the women kind of.
Those are the ones the women fall for.
A lot of women growing up, it's a little challenge. Just like we want challenge, the woman that gives you the hardest time is the one that you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like old school in a way, because it's true. A man has to show you, he has to chase you. He has to really show you all the nice things. Has to open doors for you. Has to, want to grab your leg when you've been working all day and just give you a massage. He has to want to do those things.
King of queens.
Yes.
Aji brings me to that. How do you treat a lady like a queen? Because I watched a video. I think it was a picture the other day of a guy kissing a lady's feet. And I know it's not every lady's feet that you will kiss. But will you kiss a lady's feet?
Of course.
And how do you make that lady feel like a queen? Let me know.
Wow. Well, you've known me for a while, right, Julia?
I know one scenario. I was walking with you on the street and you say, let me help you take off your shoes because they hurt. And you really did help me with that one. But you are very nice to women. You are really, really nice.
I really believe.
I don't know if that is, but I don't see that. I don't see you do it to every woman. I think that you compliment women a lot. You say you're beautiful.
Yes.
You look great.
Yes.
You always give compliments,
Yes.
and that is what is very, very attractive. Make you very to Aji. Make women fall for Aji, and sometimes they take it wrongly. But I think that if I had a man in my life who compliments women, I'll be more attracted to that man. And I'll like that a lot more, because I want you to see you put smiles on people's faces versus pretend and hide your feelings and later on turn them to something else. So again, back to my question, how do you make a lady feel like a queen? And how do you separate how you treat that queen from the people you've had to deal with before, whom you just dished, you came halfway, and then they had to leave.
That's a great point. Well, formerly, I mean, I probably would think that I'm a nice guy, but I wasn't treating women the best because, like I said, that worked. Now, once I got more evolved and a little older, I started to realize that, you know, you have to. There's something pressured about women. You guys are a different kind of like, you know, I don't even know what word for it. Just you're different from us.
Correct.
And to me, you guys are even the more evolved part of us. I don't know how to explain it. So when I see a woman, I'm like, wow, because the way you guys carry yourself, all the multitasking, all the things you have to do based on what you were saying earlier. I've seen somebody like yourself, 3 kids. You have a business, not just one business. You have a few businesses that you're running,
Correct.
and you're single, and you're doing all. How is that possible? That is not a norm for a lot of guys.
Correct.
But that's a norm for a lot of women. So once you realize that these women are like on another level, and so all they need to see is a man that understands them and knows exactly how they want to be treated. So I've always felt that women, just no matter what situation or where they are, they just have to be treated and elevated more than anything, rather than just talking down on them or anything like that. So I've always, and I try to encourage all my guys that, hey, especially that when they're younger, there's a certain way that works, like what I was telling you about before. But when a woman gets older, it's different. She wants a nice guy. She's really just looking for somebody that's going to treat her very well and just be nice to her and speak to her and respect her in every single form. So what I've been working on is just learning to be able to be that kind of person, and I hope it's showing. I really do hope
It
it's
is, because I think that for me, my experiences with you, RG, is because I felt like you got me shut in a particular space, and with being kind and the way you treated me as a friend, I think each time I went out, I felt like, even we had shows or we had events, I walked in there with my head high, knowing I had this person who wants me to represent a whole team, a whole concept, and you always made sure it was like there was that bodyguard behind me.
Yes.
If anything happened, you're like, let me take care of it for you, and let me take care of it for you. So I kind of like set the stage for what I wanted in my relationship and how I wanted to be treated, because if I can't get that out and not get that at home, and it's going to be the same. That's how I look at it. It was not as if I was comparing. No.
Yeah, I know.
Out of my home, which is not love, it's my work life, but I'm treated nice. So when I get home, I should also be treated nice, or even better.
You deserve it. Yeah.
You understand? So if you're not treating me nice, or if you're trying to not give me the kind of respect that I need, then it makes me feel that is not the relationship.
But Julia,
I should
you're the same kind too. I mean, the thing about it is about you is you would do the same thing. You get what I'm saying?
Correct.
And I've always looked at it this the way I see it, and I really hope a lot of people in the audience can understand what I'm saying. For those people that are not Christians, but God has given us a covering in the form of the Holy Spirit.
Correct.
Right? Something that even if your mom, nobody's around, just protects you and provides for you and just gives you guidance. I've always looked at the man as the head of the family, not in the traditional sense, not in the conventional sense, right?
Correct.
But meaning like somebody that will give covering to the woman. You get what I'm saying? Or whoever is around them, making sure that no hand is laid on that woman, making sure that that woman has someone to call to say, hey, I'm under pressure. I'm going to sex before marriage. I'm under pressure for this and that. So you have somebody that you could just come to and say, hey, you know he's going to give you the best advice.
Let me interrupt for that.
Yes.
There was a day in my relationship. This is the part of the juice I'll give
Can we talk about that part?
I'll give it. There was a day.
Okay.
There was a day in my relationship, and that would be the first time it happened. And it had happened to be the last it happened. And this is why I encourage women to know who to look up to. There was a day I received my first slap, of course, from an African relationship. Some men will slap, some men will not. Some men just believe that it is their place to slap. A man slapped me. The man in my life slapped me. And my reactions thereafter made that the end of it, which I stood for an hour looking at that man in his face and said, he didn't know what was going on, what to do. Are you going to call the cops? Are you going to do anything? I didn't call the cops, but I called Aji. And I said, I don't remember the last time I died, even before he died. Me, she died when I was 10, and I now receive a slap. So I called Aji or Joe. He drove 2 hours away and showed up at midnight. That is the kind of brother, friend I have. And showed up, we're in Chicago here, showed up. Did you touch her? That was the question. Aji, normally you would overlook that. Why would you make that decision? I'm telling you, the reactions from then on, that man would never put his hands on me. So he said, no, it was a mistake. It will never happen again. And I think from what I was hearing, is AJ is like, you know, we are in Chicago, right? Because we can handle this differently. Since you're touching a woman right here, we can handle it differently, whereby you could get hit too. That's what I took from it. Yeah. But that question was very powerful. Did you touch her? Because we can handle this the Chicago way.
And the funny thing is, when you look at it, we are all fathers. Most of us are. And if you have daughters, and I always wonder for the men that will even try to go there, and I'm not perfect. I've had my share of different things that happen. I've never been the aggressor. That's not my belief. But when you have daughters, you start to realize that if I could just imagine if somebody called me, they say, hey, somebody laid there. I mean, that would be the end of it.
Correct.
You know, so what guys do or tend to do in a relationship, and you start watching out for the signs, is they isolate. That's one of the first things of somebody that's leaning towards abuse.
Right.
Isolate you from your friends and from people that's been around you.
True.
That they know for a fact, because once that person is not there, they got you.
Correct.
You understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
So it's always good to have wise counsel and have people that are always going to be there that you can call on. Because like you said, your dad died when you were 10. So a man has already seen that. Who are you going to call? Your brother, your twin brother is in England.
England.
Right?
Yeah.
So who do you have here?
Yeah.
But if every man, I tell, knows that there's somebody in your life,
behind you,
he's not going to try.
Right.
Because we act different amongst each other. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Correct.
Not like I'm the biggest, baddest guy in the world, but just mostly a guy gets stepped onto by another guy shows that you have support. And guys don't know how to act when they know that women have support. Just like when you pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm going to call the hotline for abuse. He's not going to.
Yeah, because normally when you call the hotline, what's going to happen is that, well, that's discussed. It's hotline. You all get back into your situation, and that gets back. But I believe that when you come from a community, this doesn't have to be a friend in the man's life. Yeah. Because once you call a friend, they'll talk about it. The likelihood that it's going to happen, it will happen again. But call somebody that's in your life.
Yes.
And that's why I say you should keep people in your lives who vouch for you any day, anytime. Yes. And who know your person, who go 1,000 miles just to be there for you. In the event of anything, ladies, women, you're listening, I know there's COVID-19, there's lockdown right now. Look, I know you have some friends, you know some people. Don't be afraid to call that person, man to man, that will come and say, this will be the last you'll ever have to do this. Because we'll take it out of here. We'll take it out of here. I'm not saying I'm encouraging violence. But when we take it out of here, maybe you like hitting people. You don't know how it feels when someone hits you back, right? And I'm saying that it should happen. If you are able to slap somebody, someone should be able to slap you and you feel the same. You understand? I'm not saying that you're eliminating the person, but you're letting the person know that that's definitely going to happen. And I think that a lot of the times when men don't like to be humiliated by men. They don't like to be bullied by other men because they like to be men. So what happens is they probably hid. Once you start having someone come into your own household and say, never you touch. It's not even the fact that it's the brother. Never you touch her again, because something else, I'm going to have to do something else about this. I believe that the man is going to listen. But when you get to the talking table and you start saying, what happened? You want to hear from him. You try to just beg him not to do that. I think it's another
the funny
understanding
thing
of it.
about what you were saying today, and this happened today actually, and because I can't disclose everything that's going on, but just for the sake of the conversation we're having, exactly what you're saying happened last night to somebody, and then the person reached out to me and then was telling me everything that was happening with her and her husband or whatever and whatnot. And when she was talking, she was telling me what she did wrong.
Correct.
And she was like, I think I was the one that provoked him to do this to me.
Correct.
And I was like, no, that is the biggest misconception and mistake that a lot of people make.
Yes.
You can't vouch for somebody else. Whatever you did is what you did. Did you hit him? She said, no, I didn't put my hands on him. So whatever he decided to do is based on his decision, and that's the demons that he has to battle. But a lot of women feel that they still take on that responsibility. And you're a woman. I'm turning this right back on you. Why is that? Like, why do they feel that they still have to?
Because
they're not done with the relationship.
You're not done with the relationship. You're living you still love this person so much that you know that once that person who's coming into your household to solve this thing is gone, you want to give room for, we can still make this work. Mm-hmm. I'm still ready to build. I believe that the moment you put your hand on me, you should know that relationship is dead. Like, it's completely over. That is the mess signal I should be giving you. You should never have to put your hand on me. And the moment you do that, first of all, you don't respect me enough to put your hand on me. To take that time, to take your mind into that space means that you could do worse. But I often say that the first time can be a learning platform for a lot of people who come from a weaker base. So men are just weak from their base, that they believe that this is something that they would do easily.
And plus, that's what they've been seeing growing up.
That's what they've been seeing growing up. And funny enough, men who come from, some households that have had their mothers beaten and all of that, they turn out to be very nice. But again, a lot of people have seen this thing from their society, their community growing up, and it's easy for them to react like that to a woman once there is a dispute. Oh, baby, you're coming home late. I've been calling you. It's like I saw you with another woman kissing, and you end up with a slap. Like, you don't have a right to talk to him at that point. I think that'll be the end of it, and you should stand your grounds. As a woman, stand your grounds. But then, if it's the first, there's an opportunity to see if the person is not going to be violent again. But you still have to take actions.
Yes.
You have to bring someone in. You have to say, no, this is dead for me. And so he has to see that the relationship is going to be over indeed. For this, if the man truly likes you and wants to keep you, he's going to work hard to change that storyline. But if you make it easy for him by saying, oh, baby, I forgive you. I know you love him. Oh, baby, I forgive you. We can make amends. We can, we can make this work. Immediately after that happens, I think that you're setting yourself up for something worse down the line.
I have a question for you.
Right.
If you being a woman,
right?
Let's say it's the woman that it's into hitting, because there's some women out here that don't play. Yeah. I'm talking about, it's on site. What would you recommend for the men, like, to do in that kind of situation? Because it continues, it's going to continue to happen. And if you don't take action on that, so
let me say this honestly, right? Let me say this honestly. I've had to slap somebody once. I was in Germany. I was young, I was childish. That's how you know you don't value the person. Because the person is not going to slap you back. You already know. before the woman hands out the slap, she knows the kind of person she's dealing with. Like, you cannot ask, and I think that that's the same way the man is feeling before you get that slap. So I already know the person doesn't value you that much. Or they're coming from a dark area. They're coming from a certain level of pain. Women, my case was lies. I hate lies. When you lie to me, it's like the different, I think all the cables are connected, are wired in left and right. They get confused to a point whereby I just have to explode it. Because I always tell anybody from the beginning, you can be a thief, you can be a criminal. I'll deal with that. Just don't lie to me. That's what I cannot deal with. I can forgive you cheating on me if we know, we'll talk about it. If I ask you, you say, oh, baby, yeah. It's that easy. I can take that. But what I cannot take as a lie, it's more dangerous to me.
That's true. I believe that too.
That part hurts me to the core. I mean, you will not see anything come in order from that point.
But lies, let's talk about lies. Okay, so there's lies that guys, because you're not looking for trouble.
No.
If you know what you're about to get into. So there are some lies that in a relationship that you know if you tell the truth that this right here is going to land you in in big trouble. How do you now?
Listen, you know, I had a scenario where the person has to come up and say, and I like that. The person had to come and say, hey, I have a weakness. And hope you're not going to take this on me. So I kind of gambled. And I'm like, you know that's going to hurt your career, hurt your life, right? Okay, don't do it again. Fine. Oh, fine, we'll not do it. So just gamble with me if anything you want. Just gamble. That's how I switch it. But it comes from a place of you didn't lie to me. You brought that story up.
Well,
you
already
didn't
know
lie
what
to
you're
me.
getting, yeah.
And I already know what, and I'm like, I could work with you on that. So a man goes out there and maybe is attracted to another woman and is cheating on her. And then eventually your spouse has to, baby, are you cheating on me? I think you have to take a deep breath when it comes to me. You have to take a deep breath because I would have already known that that's what's going on.
Okay.
You have to take a deep breath before you answer that. And I encourage every man to speak the truth. You speak the truth for your own good. Here's why you speak the truth. Okay.
That is, go ahead.
Yes. Lately, I think that a few things were different. I'm not trying to blame you, and I think with me, there's so much that has been going on. Blame yourself, and I think it's me. And I think that I've been weak. I think that I've been poor. I think that I have been tempted so much. And yes, I recently met with a woman. And I lost myself. And I won't blame anybody again but me. I felt weak. And I was caught up with that. And baby, you know how we are. It's not meant to hurt you, but I was weak. I think the woman is going to get that conversation differently. I know it's so hurtful. But the fact that you're saying it and taking this blame and saying it's in your weak state, saying that I would like to work on the things that made me get to that state. Iron this out. So you probably, the men who probably, I know a man who was always complaining about his woman taking 2 shifts, double shifts. Over time, you believe that I've not had intimacy with my wife for like 2 weeks straight? She's always tired and complaining, I feel sorry. And then sometimes now I started talking to someone online. Well, not the right move, but again, maybe it's one of those weak moments. And then eventually I found myself into that position. I think that you can say, baby, please, I know you're working hard. And I'm also working, but I need you to step down a little bit and spend some time with me, just like we used to do. Let's start all over. Let's go on a date. Let's go on it sometimes. So I feel like I'm in a safe space. When you bring that conversation, you're trying to build your family again. And I think it takes it away from what? I just committed a crime and I'm lying about it. And the lady is asking you, get angry because you have to defend yourself, and ends up giving her a slap, and the violence creeps in. You understand? It comes from you telling the truth and asking for what? Let's see how we can work through
But
this.
I know as men, if you're a woman and Black, you're here. I don't know if Black can say anything to this conversation, but he's here. If a woman came to you that you were dating or about to marry or you're married to, and she telling you the truth that she cheated, how does that?
I would say it, and first of all, I shouldn't cheat on you. If I have to come to the point that I have to cheat on you, it means that there's no relationship.
Exactly.
There's that point where you have to say, okay, means this relationship is dead. If another man has to make you feel warm outside, if some other lady has to make you feel really warm outside, listen, for men it's easy, because I'll say it's easier because once a man picks up, I don't know if it's the right audience for it, you get high, that's how I level it up, and you just need to get low. And most of the time, it takes any woman to get you high. To get you to that stage whereby you are high. You have to be disciplined.
Yes, that's the key
Enough to say, I respect my wife.
Yes.
I respect my woman. Oh, I love her so much. Yes, you're beautiful too. You've gotten me to thank you. Yes. But I respect her. And why not? Okay, do your thing. I'll still go home, meet my wife. That's to let you, because by the time that you're putting your body into the hands of another woman, you don't respect yourself. You, the man, you don't respect yourself.
True. True.
You should respect yourself well enough to say, oh no, because then you're taking something back home to your woman. But once you respect yourself, you're like, okay, this is for me and her. And I respect her that much too. So it's not for any other woman. Sorry, too late. You could be fine as hell. You could be anything beautiful, but it's not for you. I tell you, you go out to a particular woman from time to time because she makes you feel good in that space. And there's something you're lacking. Sometimes it's not always what you're lacking from home, because some men would do home, do out in one day. And it feels like nothing changed. I don't know the kind of adrenaline that is.
That was terrible. I lived that lifestyle for a minute.
You did?
I did.
I should believe that, because with 3 girlfriends, but don't you space it out?
No.
Don't you say one day, next day?
No, it was never like that with me. It was, I don't, like I said, we don't know if that's the right audience. They're not ready. You see, I'm already sweating. You guys are already, I'm already sweating.
I tell you, this guy is real.
This is real talk. So I'm going to give it to you guys.
And that's the thing I like about solutions, because let's say I'm using my experiences and we're bringing people here and we're talking love today, but we want to be genuine and real, because it's meant to help you and help everyone else.
Let's just say, same day. I mean, I was out there, and knowing what I know now, it was like you said earlier, it's about self-worth and loving yourself enough to realize that you don't need all of these different avenues to make you feel like a man. Or like a man.
Yes.
Because we've had the wrong definition of what a man is. If you had asked me 10, 15 years ago, as you know, with a Nigerian background and everything that I know, what it is to be a man, I would tell you, oh man.
Lots of women.
Yeah, I would tell you. I have the kind of people that I look up to. And they had those kind of bravado. They always had those kind of things around them. But now I realize that you can't, one woman, and the way you have to, it's enough, really. Like, she can be all of that for you. And if it's not that, then you need to address really what the issue is. So that means you have some underlying issues, and you need to seek counsel for, or find a church or something.
Does
that's
a
gonna
woman
help
in
you.
your life need to be all of those things you're seeing out there, or it's just not the right woman? Because I think that if you meet the right woman, she doesn't have to do anything for you to love her and want to be with her, and just even teach her what you know. When you're with the wrong woman, it doesn't matter what
I
she
think
does.
it's a disease. So I think a lot of it, nobody wants to really address it and talk about it in the form of what it is. A lot of us are dealing with some type of addiction. Because I know I grew up around a lot of men. And I always tell women that, hey, my background and the kind of guys I grew up with, you see them coming this way, turn around, run.
and disappear.
Or if you see me, AJ Baba coming, turn around, and just walk the other way. Because those guys are different, and so, but now that I'm grown, I realize that it was some type of addiction and disease that we really have to find a way to cure. So you could have the finest woman in the world that gives you everything, that does everything for you in the house, or the finest man that does everything. But in this, if you have that disease in you, if you have wandering eyes, it's always going to kind of come out.
Okay.
And you look for ways to make sure you get those things.
Correct.
Like if I'm in a relationship, I would just find a way to get mad at the girl that I'm with, pissed off, so I could go do whatever it is I want to go
There are
and
two
do.
kinds of those men. In that, the men you should be running away from. I want you to
Yes.
tell me, differentiate. The two types of those are the taker and the giver.
Yes.
There's a man who goes after women and gives them gifts. There's the one who goes after a lot of women and gives nothing and takes from them.
Yes, that's
So
true.
what drives, a man to just completely take and not give anything and just keep taking? Is it a kind of job for him, or is it him
Well,
saying, I'm going out there using
You might be
women?
thinking he's not. He's thinking of only one thing, and that's the only thing he knows to give. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So that you might be looking at it, he's not giving, but some women, that's all they need. You get what I'm saying?
Correct.
So he can get away with
So
that.
he sees a need.
He sees it because they vary. Like what your guy said when he in
From
the
the
write-up,
letter.
in the letter. They watch you diligently and they study you and they talk to you. Spend so much time on the phone with you, realizing what your areas are, strength and weaknesses, and then they take the
And
opportunity.
they're very patient with it.
They're very somebody like me. I'm probably the most patient person you have. I'm not gonna jump into anything because I'm building up. It's a predatory mindset, right? You know how the lion just and watch the animals that he's about to attack to see which one has the weakest point, because you don't want to work too hard. For a real woman, you got to work a lot. No guy wants to work that hard. So he's looking for those ones that he can kind of like.
Who is a man that is going to be in your shadows for 4 years, 5 years, making a love post, never asking you to take you to bed, but is showing that they want you to become more than just taking you to bed.
Yes.
But they never getting anywhere past.
Well, those are. Yeah, some guys come in and it's rare to find those things. And that's what we're working on now with Men of Faith and a lot of other shows that we're doing to just help the guys develop in certain areas and recognize the areas of weaknesses that we all have as human beings, and based on a lot of our upbringing. So we're working towards getting to that next point. It's hard, but it's a process. So it's going to take a bunch of men coming together and challenging each other and really holding each other accountable. And we have this organization, this group that we call Mandate. And in it, we all meet up, guys, and we hold each other accountable. So you're not going to be right next to me. If I see you doing something wrong, I'm going to have to call you on it. Now, back in the days, you'd be like, oh, man, let's go talk to these women, and you're okay
It'd be
with
easy.
it. I can't be too okay with it, especially if I know maybe you're married or something like that. I'm not going to be part of that.
So do you vouch for women right now simply because you've been there
Oh
before?
yeah, I'm a
and
big
you
advocate.
know,
I'm a big advocate.
yes.
I'm a big advocate, and I say like, just run away from the IG. Those kind of
The
guys.
kind
just,
of the agi. And
Yeah,
I, like
but
the,
they-
I
they-
like the fact that you use yourself as an example.
Yes. I was terrible. No, I always use myself, and just to let people know that I'm not. By no means, I'm not a perfect human being, and I've been there. You know, I was married. I had to divorce. I got separated. I mean, I lost that relationship just based on my actions
Correct.
and not given. I didn't have a conscience, and a lot of those guys were brought up that way. Like you can't. You have to separate the feelings from the
But
individual.
the individual.
So you can't say, "Oh, I have feelings for this, and that." Then how are you going to be able to control or manage this, and that? You get what I mean? So you have to detach yourself. So you have to be a guy that's heartless.
This is Real Talk right here at Solutions
Yes.
Talk Orbit. When we come back, we'll go for a short break, actually.
Yes.
And when we come back, we'll finish up with the last part of this gentleman's letter, and then we close out for the day. Thank you for staying tuned.
Yes.
And it's been such a fun moment with you. Ask your questions if you have any. Leave them on the timeline. When we come back, we'll talk about it. Thank you.
Ruskin Bob 1, Kwame B, let's go! Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. Shani nanti apo, afufie papa bimu, oyo hima unapo. Elele 2 1 2 2 3 4. Elele 2 1 2 2 3 4. Fawu wanu Vatican. Keshika leke woso leke pasale nebo. Give me the one corner, let's go. Medium in passam, in passam, in passam pie. Medium in passam, in passam, in passam pie. Let me boko, nayango, fatu me boko, nayango. Medium in passam, in passam pie. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We are working hard. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We are party hard. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We are working hard. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We are party hard. You killing the beat, I'm feeling the heat. Justin Juma. Wow. You killing the beat, I'm feeling the heat. See what's happening. You killing the beat, I'm feeling the heat. Patan, putung, pata. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance. Shocky shocky, young panza. With me, Opa. Make us see your shocky shocky dance.
So, welcome back to Solutions Talk Obet. We've been talking about love and love drama and all that's going on, and we're trying to be real right here with relationship during COVID-19, what's going on. And then we go into the letter of people who reach out to us. So we had this letter from this gentleman today to AJ, we're going to complete the last link on the
Yes,
letter
let's talk about
and talk about the letter. So I read half of the letter. I'm going to finish the rest of it.
Yes, go ahead.
So, oof, I'm sorry, guys, I wasn't prepared. So, I always have this saying that when a man goes behind a woman's back to have an illicit affair once and does not repeat that act, that is a mistake worth forgiving. That's what I said.
Yeah, you said that earlier.
But when that man is repetitive of that same act, now that is not a mistake. That than a conscious disrespect to your person as a woman. That is what is called cheating, because by definition it is a continuous act. However, so many women have become victims to men who only see them as an ancestry, and for me, it breaks my heart to see such category of men take women for granted. At times, too, I blame today's women who only go into relationships with their hearts and not with their brains. Your heart must always be guided by your mind, because if you are able to ask a man pertinent questions that can break to open him up and to make you see what he is made of as content, then you can know whether he is in for you or otherwise. At times, too, women give themselves loosely and cheaply to men, so these men do not see their value to accord them with the needed respect that they need and deserve. Love is fluid and not rushed. Love has many sizes and is never one-sided. So if you are a woman who is always investing in a relationship, but your partner is not reciprocating your efforts, please know that such a relationship is a wasteland, because you are killing yourself for nothing. In majority of cases too, there is the obvious situation of women confronting their men over cheating, which, though is not a petty allegation, these men either deny or promise to change. But no, woman, don't buy that. You know why? No, you know why? It's because you can't chain a stray dog. It is part of their nature and part of their Ponzi scheme to conjure hope and sweet nothings, thereby putting you in a state of an illusion that they can or will change for time. But I have seen real dogs, that is, in bracket in quotes, real men get tamed by true love in a relationship that they help to build by making the woman the principal asset of the relationship. In fact, anyone that you call an ex is one that crossed the exit line, or you cross that exit line of the relationship, and you must keep it that way by not foregoing any false reality of a comeback course. If in spite of all that he did, you still won't move on, then get stuck at one place with these memories, then I am not sorry to say, but it shows how weak you are and how malleable you are to emotional manipulation. I get it. You love or loved him so much. I get it. But the realistic question is, does he love you? Maybe you want to satisfy yourself to say yes. Then I ask, why is he not with you? I'll jump into this. Unless, of course, you want him to walk into your life and use you for free, woman, keep your integrity and be grounded emotionally so that he does not become your forever weakness and nightmare. In conclusion, this is what I say. So many women do not date or go into relationship with the right men simply because they are always looking left. But it is time for you to change that narrative, because Mr. Right out there for every woman, there is Mr. Right out there for every woman, and it's okay if you're left-handed, because they would treat you right just because you were patient enough to wait. So, what do you say about that?
Well, I mean, that I believe the guy was really what's his name? How do you say?
He is a poet. He says Poetry Hive.
I like his name, Poetry Hive. Shout out to you, because you really nailed it and you said a lot of amazing things. I mean, really, people. I always call myself a traditionalist in a way. So basically, all he's saying is take your time. I mean, there's no reason to rush. You have to get to know. How long have we known each other now? You and I?
Since 2006.
6 or 7. 6, right? That's about you get. So it's everything takes time
Correct.
in life. So what we have to do is, and relationships also takes time. I think I always make this example to people because people say, "Oh, till death do us apart." I'm like, yeah, that sounds good, but say till for 60 years, for the next 60 years. What people don't realize is how long 60, 70 years is. The words till death do us apart is just a word. But once you put it in numbers, now it's 60 years, 70 years that you have to be with this person. Granted, you were only with your parent for probably 18 years. My situation, 10, 11 years, then I went to a boarding school. Your situation, you had both parents till you were 10. And then you had your mom for a few more years after that, then you went to Germany. So it's like you spent only a fraction of time with your families, your brothers, sisters. You only got to know, but you think you know them very well.
Correct.
This person you're marrying or you're about to enter into it, you're going to spend 60 to 70. Do you see how long that is?
It's a lifetime.
That's a lifetime. So take your time to get to that 70 years. Don't rush. It could be in front 10 years. If it could take you 5 years. I'm a serial dater, so I don't even want to talk about myself, but I could take for a long time. You get what I mean?
So, but is it what makes a man meet a woman and say that's my wife, and works hard to marry that woman, and a man that is going to be with you for maybe 5 years, and still doesn't know if he needs to marry you or not?
Well, any man that's been with you 5 years and don't know, that man already has an issue with himself that he needs to deal with. And that's why we say to the women all the time, if you've already given the guy everything he needs, so that's for the sake of you're giving him the milk, the sugar, every single thing he needs while you're dating, what's going to make him want to marry you in a hurry? And he's already getting sex from you. He's already getting, you get what I'm saying? You're cooking for him. You're doing everything a wife does for this guy already. So what's going to make him rush to get married? But if you now do the opposite and just keep it on a friendship, getting to know each other, and he doesn't have access to all those things yet, he has something to look forward to rush to get. You get, in a way.
Correct.
That's just for a lack of a better word, but he's going to work harder to make sure that marriage and everything comes through. So after 5 years, because I've dated for 12 years and not married somebody.
Yeah.
I've dated for a long time.
That's a dangerous man talking.
But I was very dangerous. And I can speak on danger. I was.
So what you're looking at the essence of a relationship.
Yes.
Respect.
Yes.
Because he hammered on it as well.
Yes.
I'm a pioneer of respect in relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that in order to show someone love, you have to accord that person so much respect.
Yes.
To walk away from violent situations, there has to be respect. I think that the moment someone gets into the habit of raising their voice at you, they've breached respect. And if it continues, then it's going to get into another phase. How do you demand respect? Because I know for a fact when I start talking, I have to keep my voice under a certain level. If I get up that level, I think it means that I don't see you as the same person anymore. Am I talking to a child? Am I talking to an infant? It means that you are not being respected once my volume goes high. So I think that even if you're wrong or you're making a mistake, we talk about it. It's fine. There are days that you can get a heated argument, but if you to show that that person respects you, that argument will not be at your home. That person would say, come, let's go out for a walk and talk. Before you get into that heated argument, you would have taken yourself out of that particular space. That shows the person respects you. I respected you, that's why I came and said we need to get out here and spend some time and talk, because it's important to our relationship. Yes, heated argument may show up then it's different. But once you're in the same space, you have kids, even if they have no kids, each time you raise your voice at one another, it doesn't matter. You just come in and you raise your voice.
I think
Before you know it, you have absolutely no tolerance for the person that is beside you.
I think
there
the
has
funny
to be a
thing is
cutoff.
what I'm learning now, especially when remember what the adults used to always say, that when two people are arguing, a man and a woman, they always go to the guy and be like, "You're a man. Why are you arguing?"
Why are you arguing?
Because it's guaranteed women they operate more on the emotional side than most men should actually operate. I don't
Right.
think men should be as emotional, you know. And yours is it's a lot of it is hormonal and it's going different cycles. With a woman's body, so many things is happening. She could be pregnant first month. I mean, period. So all kinds of stuff can allow that emotions to flow. But for men, we have to keep that emotion under control. So you try your best as much as you can to understand that, look, when a woman is going through that emotional rant, that's basically all it is, right? You just have to now wait, be patient enough to be able to deal with that and find the best time to have a conversation. Because they always come right back. It doesn't even take them that long. Actually, with us, we're the ones that, I'm going to speak for myself. I hold things in very, like I'm dangerous like that. So I will hold it in the whole time. But for a lot of women that I deal with, I realize that most of it is just emotional. It's just emotional flaring. And it's part of their being. You don't even know what is going on in their body that same moment or that time. And a lot of it, so you have to kind of take your time so you don't get involved in this yelling and screaming. Because at that time, two people arguing to a stranger, you both look like fools. I don't care who you are. You could say I'm a man all day, but if you're screaming and yelling outside, everybody's just going to see the man all day
because
and
then
the woman all day.
it puts you in a space whereby you get to have control. That's why I often say, when you get to that point, let it not be your...
But I also say this, Julia. Growing up back home, I hardly ever see a woman raise their voice to the man.
Because obviously there's nobody that's going to support you based off your culture. Women are told to keep quiet. Women are told to not talk back. Women are groomed to just be respectful and the quote submit to the man. I think the different meanings, we should not get into the topic of submission. It's a topic for another day, submission. But once you grow in that environment, they say, why are you not submitting to your man? You're a woman. You're not supposed to show yourself like this. You're supposed to know how to talk to a man. And other people have to step in for you. And if you're not careful, you'll be apologizing to that man who offended you. So, but that is a culture. My culture is a lot different. My culture really protects women. Let me tell you something. In my tribe, and so I still need to find someone who would say this is not true. I know I grew up in Jakiri. I mean, I was born in Jakiri. I grew up in Bamenda, but then this is from my tribe. I know that when there were issues of domestic violence, where a man will put his hand on the woman, you better know you're answering to the palace as a man. They're coming to pick you up. The phone is sending his men to you, and those palace, they call them chindas. They'll give you the phone is definitely going to send the palace. Is it the wardens?
Okay.
To come to your home. They're coming to pick you up. You receive the beating of your life. They tell you, go and beat her again.
Wow.
That's what happened in my tribe in so.
That's deep.
So women were encouraged to be nice. You see, it's not so much going on. So if a woman did something wrong to you, they encourage you to come over and report her. Go to her family and say, see what this woman did.
Yeah, that's true.
She has done this, she has done. They'll advise her, see, you're supposed to groom your children.
That's wise counsel.
You're not meant to abuse this family in this regards. You're supposed to take care of your man. Don't you see that he's there to support you? Don't you see that he's there to help you? But you, the man, don't beat her before anything. No one is listening to you. So you have the right to visit the palace any day, any time, to report the
Wow,
woman.
wow, wow.
Even if the woman's family members are not listening or anything, you have the right to visit the phone and say, this is what is happening in my household. This is what is happening. My wife has become a prostitute. And they're going to say, okay, what do you think? If you want to let go, okay, you leave. It's her loss.
I realized one thing, that once you lay your hands on a woman, there's a way, I can't even explain it. From that point on, there's a certain way that the woman looks at a man. Just like when you cheat on the man.
Let me tell you, I told you
How
about,
is it?
you remember my
Yes.
experience?
Yes.
Like I said, I used to do everything. I used to cook, clean, do everything. I would iron underwear, socks, and everything. And I would be best. That was the last day I ever washed one pair of socks.
See? So we lose
cooked.
a lot. Yeah.
I never would cook again for you. I felt violated. Means you have disrespected me to this point whereby I feel like I'm nobody. There was not a single day I put matter of fact, he knows that I cooked, and I cooked for events. He would say, oh, you remember that yam that you cooked? My uncle wants to, if he wants to eat my food, means that he will come another way and say, someone ordered yam, so I have to buy it to cook. I'm cooking as if I'm cooking for that person. But this mindset, this Julia,
She was
one,
gone.
it was gone.
Wow.
There's not that Julia that is, no. So don't cross that line.
Line. It's a line. Same thing with cheating.
The moment, with cheating, once you cross that line, it is hard to mend the relationship again.
Yes.
And there'll be a series of different events that will come thereafter. So you would rather, respect your woman, respect your man, don't cheat, hang on, discuss the issues that are disturbing you and walk out of it before you go. If you see that you're getting tempted, say, see, this is what, I'll have this conversation. I'm now being attracted to other people because this is how I feel. Because this is what I'm missing. And this is what I'm missing from you. And that's why I feel attracted to these people.
Have
that discussion
I have a
with you.
question for you in the spirit of COVID.
Yeah.
What advice would you give, like just right now, especially knowing what's happening and people are in relationships now realizing that maybe they made a mistake or something is wrong with their relationship because now you have to be with the person. I used to say this all the time because our grandparents, I used to say they were the luckiest people in the world, and our ancestors. Because when your great-grandfather or somebody says, I'm going to the village,
Yeah.
he's in the city, say, I'm going to the village. He's gone for 2-3 months. There's no Skype. There's no iPhone. There's no FaceTime. There's no nothing. He actually can get away with having a whole family
Oh, family.
over there. Because there's no way in the world you're going to leave your city to go. This hours trip. So fast forward to nowadays where everything is right there. So the phone is right there. So now this guy, COVID made it where everybody's in the same house.
Yes.
His phone that is used to, all the phone calls he was used to answering
Yeah.
outside, and the women he's able to talk to or vice versa. Now it's restricted because the woman is like, finally I got you in the house. Let me see.
Yeah.
I want to know everything.
It must be a miserable place for the man.
Yes.
It must be a miserable place, and that's why he is venting in a bad way, in being abusive. He takes it to that length of, you know what, don't you dare, because he knows what he's missing. He has left all these other people. He has no excuse to give you anymore. He has to face his relationship, but that is a moment for you to realize that man is not cut out to be for you. Listen, what are you afraid of? Being single. What are you afraid of being alone? For why? Why are you afraid? You see, I want to stay in this relationship because of my children. No, it's not because of your children. It is because of the shame you're trying not to get on yourself. The reasons for which you got married. You're also trying to stay in the relationship because what are people going to say? It's not what people are going to say that matters. It should mean this much to you to realize that your mental health does matter. You become a happier and more productive person. there is still someone out there in life who is going to treat you right. I'm not saying that you must always look forward to getting married or being with another person or staying in the same household. No. Allow somebody else to treat you right. Give room for yourself
What
to
about
treat
married
yourself
people?
right.
What about married people?
Listen, what happens when you lose your life the next day? I watched Tamron Hall's show, and there was this girl. She was crying on the show talking about the story of her mother and her dad. They were always fighting during this lockdown. He became very abusive. She was a nurse. And I think last week was her last day on earth. He killed her. Anger. The fights were going on, but they were married. She was crying. She tried to calm them down, but she had to tell her story. She said, I'm saying this because if you're out there watching, I hope my story helps you so you don't be in the same relationship. She was staying, though it was getting worse, for her family, for what people are going to say, even though the heat was too hot. So sometimes realize that you still have a life to live for. The man should, now that she's gone, it doesn't matter to him. Sometimes they're in that weak spot. The daughter said, my dad made a statement that he doesn't care to live anymore. My dad made a statement that life is worthless. So it doesn't matter if he goes to jail. Life has become worthless to him. That's why I said when you were in a sad place, none of these things matter. What the woman feels doesn't matter. When you were in a dark place, it's not as if you're hurting them. You're simply living, oh, I'm just dating and I'm dating. And if another one finds out that you're dating another one, well, deal with it. It's up to you to stay. If you don't want to stay, okay, I still have to live on.
I've actually been in some situations where I'm just grateful to God because I really do understand how we can go from a zero to 100 real quick.
Correct.
And I've been in some situations where if it's not for God, like I've literally seen the devil face to face because I've never, once you're in a bad relationship, you're not no longer yourself. So basically you will look in the mirror and all you're seeing is just nothing. You could have everything. I was doing okay at the same time, but I couldn't even understand all the things I had around me because I was so miserable inside in this relationship. And I can almost see how you can go from being in a relationship to something that can end up leading to somebody losing their life.
Losing their life.
Because for somebody that's not that grounded, and I like to think that the only reason I'm here speaking to you today is because I still had some type of grounding.
Grounding, yes.
In me. But
yes,
when we look at a bigger
anyone
scale,
who knows you, irrespective of the fact that there was this trait of, this was your life, which you didn't show to many people. If someone is not really personal with you, they won't know that part.
Exactly.
But to the public, to the majority of the people who know you, you're generally kind.
Yes.
You're kind to everybody. You're the one who gives a helping hand on the street. We see someone limping, you will stop the car to make sure we help that one person before we move on. So that is the person who was fighting between I'm kind and what I want. Usually it's you have not figured out what you want, and none of that matters. But once you find the person that no one has to fight with you, you get to realize. That's why I tell men, you have not fallen in love yet. You have not found that one. You were only attracted to her body and that disappeared. Then you find yourself and then you blame her for, making that bad decision. And that's why the violence creeps in. You are attracted to maybe something else, her money.
Yes.
And she doesn't have it anymore.
Yes.
That's it. It disappears and all of that.
Well, she's not sharing with you anymore.
She's not sharing with you anymore.
Yes.
And then, you get angry. You were really not in love with the person in the first place. I'll tell you, there are men, and I would say that with everything that, one of the scenarios, I know you've gone to a point whereby you've helped. You've helped the person, educated the person. She's had a career, funded the person's career, and the person never got enough from it and comes and still pointing fingers and saying, Aji, you didn't do enough. You didn't do much to help me. But they have a good career right now. They have something going great for themselves. But you help because you made sacrifices out there.
Yes.
You made sacrifices out there for them to get that kind of career.
Yes.
But I think you're saying you end up being the mother of my kids. I give you that.
Yes. You want the
so
best.
I don't want, and I'm proud, at least if you have a career that can feed my children,
That's how
fine.
That's how I see it.
But you say I'm now a free person. It's not as if you were in love with that person. You took a bad situation and switched it to something great. So I'm saying the dark place can produce something good, but it takes discipline and how you get to control yourself. And that's why you're able to say, I need a year out with AJ alone for me to change. To know, because I'm truly sad, because that's what you people don't see. I'm truly sad and I need to find me. And this is what I encourage everyone to do, no matter what you're going through. There's a moment where you have to define you. If you cannot define yourself, what you want, how you have to live, what makes you happy, what busts your bubble, and enjoy that moment and set it as a base for anybody, then you're not ready to be in a relationship.
And
with
speaking
anyone.
of COVID, like the greatest thing that you're ever going to learn in life that always come to help me, the greatest battle that we face, it's not even within what's going on in the rest of the world, but what's going on with yourself.
Correct.
Now, if you have to look in the mirror and say, this is the person I'm married to, and you are not content with that person.
Correct.
That means you're really not content with yourself. So, and that's where the truth starts. You start to see those things play out in relationships. So understanding yourself and knowing what you can take and cannot take and what you can deal with and cannot, and stand on those principles. I don't care as a woman, no matter, or as a man. This is what I want.
Correct. Like
you said earlier, the guy was like, "Oh, I want a woman that could." Hey, he said what he wants.
He said what he wants.
And that's it.
So coming into that relationship, you need to know.
No, exactly.
That this is what this person wants.
And most guys, they will tell you up front the kind of person they are.
Yeah.
So once you start to, hey, he likes a woman that's in the kitchen all the time. I'm not the woman. Don't try to compromise that.
Right.
Because you know you want to order food.
Or if you come as one of those ladies saying that you're going to trap the man by cooking for him on a few occasions, you win his heart, knowing that that's what he wants. And then when you get married and then you say, I don't want to do this anymore. Wait, let's say you were a side chick and you were doing these things to get him out of his relationship. Then he comes to your...
Thinking the grass is greener on the other side.
And then you become, okay, I'm tired of cooking. Again, premises, you should be tolerant. Men should, even if you have standards, you should learn to compromise. To let your
Well, that's what it is when you're in a relationship.
You should let
but like I said, it always depends. I know some guys, culturally and traditionally, that's just how they were raised. So once they say, my woman has to, that's the woman he's looking for. So I'm not going to go and find a woman that is like opposite of that form. I'm like, and then once I'm counseling the woman, I would say, hey, this is the dude that you are dealing with.
Yes.
Are you willing to be this person for that person?
But again, you should show yourself. If you have your standards, show yourself from the beginning.
Yes.
Because don't say this is what I am. Or there are a lot of women also who will say, okay, I know that there is, this man has a status, he has a career. Oh, I'll just be decent so I can get into that household. I will try to be patient. I'll try to compromise so I can be there. You're setting up yourself up for failure.
A guy's a player, right? Before you get married to the person. You get married to the person now and you're like, all of a sudden, and you know for a fact, you can't stand a cheating man. You're not one of those. There's some women, not every woman is the same. There's some women that cheating is not the end or be all for them.
Yes.
That's If the guy is bringing in serious money, they can overlook a lot of they don't even want to know. There's some women like that. And there's some women that if you cheat on them,
Your last day.
that's your last day. So you have to know the kind of person you are. You know, myself as a man, hey, I don't like my woman to go out and cheat. And she goes out, I know I'm done. Right? But there's some guys that, hey, they can still forgive and move forward and move around it. Just know exactly what you're getting yourself into and then just deal with it from that perspective. Stop playing those games of like, well, I just want to be married, so I'm just going to do or deal with it, or maybe he would change. No.
But again, it brings me down to the point where I was saying respect for me is the base, because you have to respect someone well enough to know. And you can't do certain things. Listen, you'll be in a business meeting with your men friends, or with your colleagues, and maybe you're out of town, and then the temptation comes in. You are like, okay, this is too good to be true. Like, this is really good. Like, 5 minutes won't even matter. It'll just be 5 minutes and no one is going to know about it. That's how you're trying to convince yourself. But remember, discipline, the discipline you have can always help you.
That's true.
Which is what steps in. You say, man, I love my wife. By the time you say 5 minutes doesn't matter, your mind reminds you, you know, how is the person really going to find...
trust me, it's never even those 5
relate
minutes.
when they find out about this.
They
So in your mind,
that
you
5
already
minutes
have...
can turn to pregnancy.
Gone.
It turns to 18 years of child support and a whole life. I mean, so that's why you're saying the discipline for men, you have to be extremely disciplined, you know, because there's so much more than just that one night of fun and just intimacy or whatever you're doing. It takes on a different life. And when I was
Because
younger,
I believe you feel worse when you thereafter.
Yes. Actually, that's
Once you cheat,
it's a terrible
you get
feeling.
out of it. You should feel really
It's a
bad.
terrible feeling. You know, before I never used to feel like that. Right? And so once I started getting closer to God and understanding consciousness and understanding women more. Before, if I cheat, that's it. It's normal part of what I was doing. I'll go about my day like not even think twice about it. Now, if I even try to do something, there's an ounce of guilt that will just come into your head because you're like, and it's not even about the woman or the person that you have outside. It's really more, like I said, it's about yourself.
It's
you get to a
yourself.
point in your life
Listen,
where
she's not even found out,
Yeah.
but you already feel
it's-
like
yes,
you feel
that yourself is important.
you've brought down your dignity to a particular level.
Yes,
And that's why
yes.
I'm saying that you've abused your own self.
Yes,
And I'm
yes,
saying
yes.
you have to love yourself. That's what I said
Self more,
from the
yes.
beginning. You have to love yourself well enough to know you cannot give it out.
Yes, your body is a temple.
Yes.
It's so true.
So once you love yourself that much, you're like, okay, you're not getting it. This is for me.
Yep.
First,
Yep.
because you're not going to get into that feeling. And secondly, it's for the person that really deserves me and not you.
Exactly.
So, and I think that once you come to that point in life, then you get to...
And that's another human being on the other side too. So that you're getting our emotions and everything all, and it's hard to break out of that. That's the hardest thing, especially if you have feelings. You start to, you know, somebody you respect or you adore, you admire, and now you have to go back and tell her, oh.
But you know, it's a spirit in itself.
Yes.
Once you give yourself, your spirit to another person, and the person gives their spirit outside your relationship, it goes with you. It flows with you into your relationship, you become haunted. And that's how I said, you're in there, things change automatically. That's why the moment you step into your home, you've already certified yourself guilty before even... You're already guilty. Your mindset is guilty.
And you start acting like
You're acting like a guilty
well, you know, they
person.
call it guilty conscience.
It's
So
guil-
you will now start looking at the woman like, where were you last night? No, you were the one that were in the night. You were the one last night, though. You get upset. What were you doing last
What
night?
were you doing
But
last
meanwhile,
night?
you were the one last night doing all those things. So you should ask yourself. So we need to, so a lot of it, like you said, is having discipline and order, especially for us as men. And when we get to this level and this age, it's like we start to see, so we now have to tell the younger ones, you know, because their society is totally different. I had a younger guy that was telling me in front of his girlfriend, and he was talking, and he was like, I want to have 2 women. And this was the conversation he was having with his girlfriend right there.
And what did the girlfriend say?
She was like, no, I'm not for that. But I'm like, good. You are already you've heard.
What is going to happen? I
and
think
he's being honest.
Yeah, he's
telling
being
you.
honest, yes.
So now you like, that's not the kind. This is what y'all doing in your generation, in this time. But this is not
and you know the funniest part? The woman is kind of like a little bit gullible when they get home. And the man says, I was just joking. No, it's not a joke.
Oh, that's what you really
It
want.
was intentional. He said it. That's what things don't just pop out of your imaginations. That's what I always say. Watch out for what comes out of a man's mouth, because he's trying to express himself
Most
where
of the time
he really
a guy
wants to
will
be.
use joke
Yes.
to
say something,
to
tell you the
to
truth.
see how you're going to respond.
Exactly.
It's a part of play. It's a player movie.
Yeah. So we're coming to the close of this show. I hope you really enjoyed your time with Ajibaba Ojo and Julia.
Yes.
We should call it AJ and Julia.
AJ and Julia.
Because I want to see you. You have a lot.
Yes, we got a lot of stuff to do.
You have a lot. I think the next show we should be talking about submission.
Wow, that's deep.
Submission.
I love that.
What do you guys think? You should still leave your comments or
Yes.
leave us something on the timelines. And next time we're having a great topic right here and a great show. It'll be a different food concept.
And if you're dealing with something around COVID and you're going through stuff in your relationship, please reach out to, Julia's about solutions. Reach out to Julia. Myself, we have an organization that's willing and standing right there to help you guys out, called the Life Development Center. And every need that you have or every request that you have, just direct it to us, info@thelifedevelopmentcenter.org, and we will definitely get back to you. So anybody going through anything, male or female, hard time, and you need somebody to talk to, please reach out so we can really deal with what's going on, the demons that's attacking us in this COVID period. Thank you.
As for the solution talk show, we always end with something great. Today we're going to end with AJ and Julia. We're going to support 5 people start their businesses.
Yes.
We'll help you know how you can get started, register your businesses, and get started.
Yes.
You call us, we'll help you fill the paperwork and do everything.
Yes.
5 people.
5 people, that's
5
beautiful.
people.
That's a blessing.
And that's what we're walking into our June month.
Yes,
So
yes,
5
yes.
people we're going to help. Don't feel like you cannot own a business of your own. Don't feel like you cannot start something good of your own and, push it to the right direction. Reach out to me and AJ. Talk about your business plan or your idea and how you want to see it growing forward.
Yes,
If you don't have a business plan, I think that we have the right resources for you
To be able to
help you out.
Yes.
So just contact us again at Solutions Talk Orbit or this Julia at solutionstalkorbit.com, and we'll be able to help you. Or you can reach out to Aji at hotmail.com or Ajiojo at hotmail.com.
Yes.
And we can help you. Trend Africa is right there for you. It's easy for you to contact Trend Africa. You can easily reach out to Trend Africa. And of course, once you get Trend Africa, you got AJ and Julia at Solutions Talk Orbit.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. AJ, anything you'd like to say?
Oh, no, last words is just you guys stay encouraged, stay prayed up, and see you guys next week.
G on the beat, yeah. Yo, SLV, and for this one, OSB Dub. I've been calling for you, shut down. Calling, mom, calling for you. Khadija, I've been calling for you, no be lie. Khadija, I've been calling for you, no be lie.
I'm a mama, living free, no drama. Like Michelle Obama, period, no comma. Like my mama, I'm a mama,
Living free, no drama.
no drama.
Like Michelle Obama. Period with no comma. Like my mama.
Like her mom,
I'm a mama. Living free, no drama. Like Michelle Obama. Period, with no comma. I'm Big Mama. She our mama. I'm a mama.
Mama.
To advertise with us, donate sponsorships and suggestions, email us at trendafricatv@gmail.com or call us on 773-312-0318 or 773-756-6678. Remember to also follow and like us as Trend Africa TV on Facebook so you can always catch us live. On Instagram as Trend Africa TV 123 or subscribe to our YouTube channel as Trend Africa TV and click on the notification button to watch previous shows. You can also visit our website for your African news, entertainment, fashion and sports updates on www.trendafricaonline.net. Trend Africa TV, redefining Africa.